hello people that happen to be watching this video. So the dictionary defines fear as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. So you know that way you get when you're afraid, when you're like really nervous, anxious, you feel like you're going to die, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to die. So yeah, that feeling happens because of fight or flight, and basically this happens in the peripheral nervous system, and basically just sends hormones such as like adrenaline, noradrenaline, and stuff like that. And so that gets your heart beating, hands sweaty, increased breathing, that kind of thing. You probably know what I'm talking about. And so you experience fight or flight when you feel like you can't cope with something. So, we feel like we can't cope with fears, that's why we're afraid of them, because we just can't cope. So yeah, that's kind of like a biological aspect for fear, but are fears innate, or are they learned? Yay for questions that no one knows the answer to, because no one can agree. So yeah, let's start with the fears being learned. So in 1920, this guy called John B. Watson got a hold of this baby who was like about 9 months old, and the case study experiment type thingamajigger was called Little Albert, the little alias thing for the baby. And so basically they showed little Albert all these objects, and he wasn't afraid of them. And then they showed him this white rat, and he was like, whatever, this is just a rat, nothing to be afraid of. And then every time he touched the rat, they would hammer off the suspended steel bar, and it would make a loud noise. Now the noise upset little Albert, and so he would cry and stuff. And then it became that whenever he saw the rat, he got upset, cried, didn't like it, was afraid of the rat now. So he was conditioned into fearing the rat. But they also found that if they presented him with a furry animal, like a doll or something, he would get afraid as well. And also a seal-skinned coat and Watson, the experimenter guy, and a sort of Santa Claus mask, that made him afraid as well, and he would cry. But he was never desensitized, so he could have lived the rest of his life, which I don't think was very long, because he got some illness. But anyway, he would have been afraid of those things, probably, because he was pulled out of the experiment before he got desensitized. So now for it to be innate, basically the thing about it being innate is that we have this fight or flight response, which would suggest that we're designed almost as if to need that extra adrenaline and heart pumping and like crazy things, because we need to face situations like that. And fight or flight is a sort of survival mechanism, so it would suggest that we have fears that we will be afraid of and stuff like that. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that some fears are because of our history, like the fear of mice and insects is because they used to carry disease, so we have diseases that would kill you. So we've brought that along with us, and that's why we're afraid of them. Not because they pose a threat, but because in history it was good to be afraid of them. So that's me done with that topic. So you guys, let me know what you think about it. On a different note, I went to an acoustic rock night tonight, which rocked, and was great, and everybody that played was amazing. I shall put links in the doobly-doo, and you have to click on all the links because all the people there are amazing, and you have to go listen to them. So yes, goodbye, and DFTBA.